and welcome to our New England Mental Health Technology Transfer Center family compassionate conversation about holistic health. We are recording the first part of this webinar for everyone. What we will do today is we'll start off with a brief mindfulness practice, and then I will give you some tips on how you and your family can achieve holistic health. And then we'll stop the recording and we'll have an open discussion about your experiences trying to achieve holistic health, whether that be challenges, successes, and how we can help our families achieve that. So let's start with our mindfulness practice. So whatever you're doing, if you could just give me about 3 minutes of your time, put down any work that you are doing, anything in your hands, go ahead and set that down. And if you're able to place your feet on the floor, that would be really helpful. If not, you can just find a comfortable seat. Maybe that's rocking back and forth in your chair until you find comfortable. If you would like to close your eyes, you're welcome to. You can also leave your eyes open and find a soft gaze in front of you. We're going to take a deep breath in through our nose and feel that air filling up our bodies. We're just going to check in with our body, just starting at the top of our heads, not trying to change anything, just noticing any feelings or sensations that we feel as we scan down from the top of our head, checking in with our face, our neck, our shoulders, going down our arms, the chest and the stomach, checking in and noticing any sensations or feelings in the hips and the thighs, going down past the knees to the lower legs, and finally reaching those feet. We'll take another breath in through our nose. And as you let the breath out through your mouth, if you notice any tension in your body, go ahead and give those body parts permission to release. Common places where we hold tension are the roof of our mouth. Our tongue is often stuck there, so you can go ahead and let that go. If your shoulders are up near your ears, go ahead and let them fall down and back. Now take another breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Notice if any thoughts are coming up. Sometimes we call this monkey mind, when we have chattering in our mind that just won't stop. Try to acknowledge that, not necessarily trying to stop it, just noticing it. Taking one more breath in through our nose and out through our mouth. So we try to let those thoughts float away. Now we're going to try to visualize ourselves in this space. We're virtual right now, but we are surrounded by quite a few people. You might want to blink open your eyes for this and maybe even look at your Zoom screen and notice all of the names and pictures that you see in front of you. And just take a moment to feel that connection. We're all across the country in different places, but we're here together for this hour. You can go ahead, if you haven't already opened your eyes, go ahead and open your eyes. And now we're going to talk a little bit about holistic health. So the mindfulness practice that we just did, I tried to touch on a few different aspects of holistic health. And the definition of holistic health is that it's caring for the whole person, providing for your physical, mental, spiritual, and social needs. And I thought it was interesting to add that social aspect. That's something that I typically haven't thought of as a part of holistic health, but it's true that it's really important for us to understand all of the things that humans need to feel full and complete. So, first, it's important for us to understand why we want to achieve holistic health and how stress can really cause us problems with achieving that sense of well being in all aspects of our life. So, stress has a really negative effect on our mind. We have trouble concentrating, remembering things, and using our executive functions, which are those skills that help us plan and make decisions and do higher order thinking. All of that is negatively impacted by stress. So, if we can understand that ourselves and also teach our children, the children that we work with, and our colleagues and friends about those effects, then we might be more motivated to take care of our holistic health. Stress also affects our body. We're less able to regulate our emotions. Um, Inflammation, which is caused by, in part, by stress, it leads to a lot of illnesses and can cause pain in the joints and the muscles. So, stress literally makes us feel bad physically. Stress also makes it more difficult for us to connect with others. That emotional regulation piece can have an effect on relationships. We're often more short tempered when we're stressed out, and that can make it more difficult to use our active listening skills and communicate effectively with others. And stress just makes us emotionally feel bad. We're less motivated to do some of those things that fill up our soul and help us achieve that sense of holistic health. So, one thing that we can understand for ourselves and teach our family members and those that we work with is that self care is not just something frivolous that we do if we have time or if we can fit it into our schedule, but it's actually an act of compassion and love that's essential for us to practice before we're able to care for anyone else. You may have heard that phrase that before you can help someone else put on their oxygen mask when they're experiencing a crisis or trouble, we really have to put ours on first, because if we don't have the energy and capacity to care for those in our family or at our work, then we're not going to be able to do that effectively. So let's talk about how we can care for the different aspects of our health so that we can achieve that holistic well being. So, the most concrete way is to start with our bodies. And so we can do these things ourselves and also teach the people that we love and work with how to do these things. So, there are three really key things that bodies need to function. The first is exercise. We really need to get our bodies moving, doing some kind of physical activity. And I'll go into some ideas for how to do that with kids a little bit later. Another thing that we need to have is sleep. That's something that adults are really good at putting on the back burner and saying that, oh, I'll sleep on the weekend or I'll get to it after this big project. But if we're not sleeping regularly, then our brain actually doesn't work as effectively, and it can lead to more stress. So we do know that the brain flushes toxins, repairs neural pathways, codes and stores memories, processes emotions, repairs muscles, and fights illness all during sleep. So it's really key that we give ourselves a healthy amount of sleep. Adults need between 6 and 9 hours, but an average of 7 or 8. And children need more depending on their age. So ensuring that we give ourselves a proper amount of sleep is really important. And there are certain things that you can do to improve your sleep. Research has shown that putting down our phones at least an hour, but preferably even sooner than we go to bed, can help us get higher quality sleep, stay asleep longer. The temperature and lighting in our room also affects the quality of our sleep. So finding out whether you prefer a dark room or a little bit of light. Typically a cooler room helps us sleep a little better. So really paying attention to the environment that we're sleeping in as well. Food is another important way to keep our bodies healthy. And there are certain healthy foods that can really improve the way that our brain functions. Some of those include berries, nuts and seeds, dark chocolate, whole grains, cruciferous vegetables, which are like broccoli and cauliflower, dark leafy greens, unsaturated fats in avocados and fish, for example, and soy products. All of those are really good to keep our body healthy. But we also want to make sure that we're not restricting our food. We're allowing ourselves to experience some pleasure with food as well, because food brings us together as a community and is a really important way for us to express ourselves and enjoy life. So we talked about the body and keep taking care of that. We also need to take steps to take care of our mind. So we can use emotional regulation skills that we can build through mindfulness. We did a body scan at the beginning of today's session together. We also did a brief visualization. Doing things like that, meditating and practicing yoga on a regular basis can really help us understand how to soothe those big emotions that we have. So teaching our children, our spouses, our colleagues how to do these things is caring for our holistic health. Also, creating space and time to talk about any challenges that you are having. That might be with a group of folks like us here today. That might be with a friend or family member. That might be in your journal, or perhaps even with a mental health professional. But giving yourself that space and time to talk about the challenges that you have in your life is a really important component of taking care of your holistic health. Our minds also need stimulation. We need some boredom in our lives. We need some time to be slow and reflect. But we also need things that interest us. Engaging in activities with our family that are a little more active than just watching television can be really helpful. Playing board games, reading books together, exploring nature, all of that helps stimulate our minds and contributes to holistic health. We also want to take steps to nurture our soul. So I mentioned food as a way to experience pleasure, but also looking for joy in our daily life and making intentional decisions to practice activities that give us joy and bring us pleasure. Humans really thrive on having something that stimulates all aspects of our being, our body, mind, and soul. So, thinking about the things that truly, truly bring you joy. You could even pop a few of those things into the chat to give us some ideas of what you like to do to bring you joy. And then the social aspect of our holistic health, making time to connect with others, and maybe even having that as a way to do things that make our world better, looking at our community and getting some doing some things that will improve our community. And we'll talk next session about community wellness and some ideas specifically for how to do that. So as leaders in our workplaces and in our families, we can really help those that we care for to engage with caring for their holistic health by reflecting on the level of burnout and compassion fatigue that we've seen, especially during this past year, and seeing the effects of that on our organizational well-being or our family well-being, and pointing out ways that perhaps taking a more intentional care of our holistic health could have reduced some of that and can help buffer against stress for the future. I like to teach people about a self-care formula. So thinking about all of the things that I just mentioned: sleep, exercise, food, time for reflection, connection with others, all of these things together, when we add them up, create that holistic health or happiness. But it's really difficult in our modern age to make sure that we're doing something for each of those things every single day. So we might one week not get as much sleep, not eat as healthy, but we had a lot of social connection and we got to experience a lot of joy and pleasure. So perhaps the next week we decide to focus on that exercise and food a little bit more so that we can come back into this state of balance. A lot of this work around holistic health is trying to find that balance where you're bringing the body, mind, soul, and your social being into connection with each other. So we can definitely find kid friendly ways of practicing all of these things. Whether we're doing this in the context of our family or in an educational or mental health setting, there are lots of great ways to actually help children understand emotional regulation strategies using fun practices that also nurture our mind, body, soul, and social being. So I mentioned food as being a great community connector. We can teach children how to cook healthy foods, maybe even having a community garden so we can show them how to grow healthy foods. We can teach children about the importance of exercise by engaging in group exercise activities together. I mentioned yoga earlier as a great way to help us regulate our emotions and also help our bodies heal as well. So that's a great exercise that you can engage in. There are tons of kid-friendly yoga videos online. We can also teach children from a very young age about the importance of sleep and give them the tools to go to sleep on their own if they do struggle with that. There are many wonderful kid directed meditations specifically designed for sleep. I know that the Calm app has some great ones for children. But teaching children from a very young age the importance of taking care of their body, their mind, their soul, and connecting with others can be really impactful.